So, so this is what we in the day-to-day world we say that this is what is basically the hierarchy or hereditary, right? So one from one it will go to another, from one it will go to another, correct? So now when these people have already, let us assume that constructed a flat. So now what he can do is next generation is son. He can maybe do a little bit of makeover. Maybe he will change some of the rooms and then maybe some paintings and externals. On the top of it, he might construct one more floor, right? So he can make changes, or he can demolish everything and then go for a one shot altogether, right? And demolish everything and rebuild it, right? So because he's the son, he's a owner of that property now, he can do whatever he wants, right? So the same thing is applicable for our code as well, right? So what we are trying to understand here is, let us try to understand now inheritance in detail. Okay, so now when it comes to inheritance, what we have, so imagine that there is a class. Okay, I'm calling it as, let us say, class A, right? It has, let us say, few variables and few methods, correct? It has few variables and few methods. So now imagine that we want some behavior or we want some state. For example, we want a state and then we want a behavior. We put it over here. So then the same state and behavior, we want it in another class, correct? So just like, there's a parent and then the parent property will come down to the kids property, right? Just like that, I want to have the same variables and methods in some other class also. Then what I can do is I can write a class here. That is, let us say, class B. Then I can make this class B as a child class of class A. I can make this as a parent class and this will become child, or this is a super class and this is a subclass. Okay, so what is happening here is we are establishing the parent and child relationship over here, right? Just like your parent and children. That's why I was taking that example, right? So what is happening with this is we are trying to establish the parent and child relationship over here. Okay, so with that, what happens is we are making this class B as a child class or a subclass of class A. So that means we will make this class to extend this class. So we use a keyword here called as extends. Okay, so we will make this class B to extend class A. So how are we going to set up this inheritance hierarchy? How are we going to set up this inheritance or the relationship of parent and child class is by using the extends keyword. Okay, so whenever a class extends another class, we say that the child class is extending the parent class, or we say that the subclass is extending the superclass. So when a class extends another class, what happens? All the public members of the parent class, members means what? Variables and the methods. All the public members of this class will get inherited to the child class. That means imagine that we will take, usually people will take this example only. That's why I'm also trying to take the same example. Okay, so we have a, let us say, a class called as animal, right? So then we have a class here, our own favorite class, dog, right? So whatever common behavior and the state which is there for all the animals, now what we will do is we will take it out and put that in the animal class. All the common state and behavior like number of legs and color, this, that, and all of that we will put it into the animal class. Okay, all right. So what is happening here? What we will do here is when we try to build any software application, so just try to understand this. We have to develop, imagine that the dog, which is basically an animal, dog is an animal, isn't it? So what happens here is all the common state and behavior, we will take it out and put it in the animal class, and then we write the dog class and make it to extend this class. That is how we are setting up the relationship as a parent and child. See, what is the advantage of this? The main advantage here is, imagine that we are writing a cat class, because cat is also an animal. So now cat will also extend animal class. In that case, all the common state and behavior will get extended to cat class also, right? The cat class also, it will be extended. So all the duplicate code which could have been there otherwise. See, cat, dog, tiger, whatever classes that we're going to write, which are all going to be the animal classes, then for all of them you may have to put the eat method, drink method, right, and a sleep method, and all these methods you may have to put it in all the classes. Now when you actually choose to go for this parent and child relationship, now what happens here is you will take out all the common state and behavior, you put it over here in the animal class, and then you make all these classes to extend this class. With that, what happens, you will be saving a lot of duplicate code. You'll be really saving a lot of duplicate code. Okay, and not only that, it has a lot of other advantages also, right? So let us see that with example now. Okay, so now what we will do is we will just try to write this inheritance with some example today. Okay, so I will go back here and then let me choose the same package over here. Okay, oops is already there here. Okay, the dog is already there. So now what I'll do here is I will create another package for today. Okay, and I will name the package as com dot. So how the packages are usually named? Com dot say Java dot oops dot inheritance. Right. So for inheritance, I'm trying to create a separate package here so that all your classes will go into this. Right. So now just here, be with me, all of you. Let us quickly write some classes. Very, very important. Okay. I'm writing the animal class here. All right. What and all I want to put it in the animal class. Some common state and behavior which we want for all the animals to have. Right. See, this is very, very important. Okay. Rest all your Selenium down the line, whatever you're going to learn, if you have to learn inheritance and polymorphism very well. Okay, very much required. So all the common state and behavior that we want to have it in all the animals down the line. That's what we're going to put it over here. Okay. So what is that we want? For now, just to start with for today, I will just say int, say age. Every animal will be having certain age. So we want to put the age here. Then string, let us say color. Right, or name. So what is the name of this, right? Whether it's a dog or a cat or whatever it is, the name, right? And then I would say string color, right? What is going to be the color of this? And then maybe you can just add, as I told you, is it a is going to eat, what type of food? Is it going to eat a non-veg or a veg food? All of that, you can add. And then is it vaccinated, not vaccinated, Boolean type you can add. For now, we will just keep these ones. Okay. So then I'm going to add some methods here, public void eat. Okay. If you see here, I'm not making these global variables as private. If I make them as private, then again, I will have to add the setter and getter for that. That is actually the right way. Okay. We should be ideally making all the global variables as private. We have seen that, isn't it? We should make them as private, but just to save the time, I'm not doing it, right? So I want you to do that. Okay. Because otherwise we will have to add all the setters and getters and all that, right? So that will actually complicate the thing. Complicate as in we'll have to write a lot of code unnecessarily. But for now, that's why I'm, without doing that, I'm just, making them as public or default access controllers, right? Now, no public, no private here for now. Okay, we can even add that also down the line. So then just here, I'm just saying here system.out.println the animal of animal who's by name. What is the name of the animal? Maybe it's a dog or a cat or whatever it is, a name. Okay, of the age. See, can I access age here? Yes, I can access because age is a non-static member and my method is also non-static. I can access it from now onwards. Mostly it is non-static only, right? Of the color plus color is eating. So just some dummy implementation here. Okay, implementation means method. Okay, so what is the method that I want? This is you can write it in any number of lines. I told you, right? White lines are usually ignored by Java. So just a small implementation for the eat method. Okay, so similarly, let us have one more method here for say sleep. Right, I'm just saying here this method animal is sleeping. Makes sense. So what we have done here, we have basically set up the the animal class. Now, what is the advantage of this? The advantage of this is, let us see the advantages now. What is going to be the advantage of this? Is so when you are going to write other classes down the line, for example, what we will do now is we will write a dog class, and then we will write a cat class. We will write a tiger class. All of them are going to be animal. So when we, okay, people, some of them got dropped off. I don't know. Is it they are having poor connection or they kind of got dropped out? The count has come down to 20. Okay, maybe they might join back, hopefully. So when we are going to write other classes here like dog, cat, tiger and all that, and then we make them to extend the animal class. That means this animal will become the parent class. All these classes will become the child classes. Yes, Sai Srija, you got dropped out and again joined back now? Sai Srija? Yeah, so I was just seeing people, some of you got disconnected. Not sure, I was just worrying whether it's from my side. So what we are trying to do here, all the common state and behavior, we are taking it out and putting it in the parent class, and then we are making all these classes to extend this class so that they become the child classes of this class. Correct? So now let us see how do we do that. See, when we can establish this relationship, always remember this is basically a relationship. Remember that when we use inheritance, that means we are trying to establish the is a relationship. Means dog is an animal, cat is an animal. That is when dog can extend the animal class. That's when the cat can extend the animal class, right? You cannot simply make, just as an example, for example, student. You cannot make the student class to extend the animal class. Maybe you can make the student class to extend, let us say, human class or a man class, something like that, right? So this inheritance hierarchy is there. So that's what you need to remember, right? So what is the goal of doing this is so that all the common state and behavior we are trying to put in the main class, that is a parent class, and subclasses may have their own methods, or they may have their own state and behavior. Correct? So now with this example, let us try to see here. There is a relationship. Okay, the whole purpose of inheritance is to set up the a relationship. Now see here, I'm saying here public class dog. So usually people take the same example, okay, wherever you go. Yeah, it is just because there's a very easy way to explain. Okay. Now I want the dog class to extend the animal class, right? So let me close this, close the other classes as well. Yeah. So now we have only animal and dog over here, right? So now I want to make the dog as a child class and the animal as a parent class. How do we do that? Is by using the keyword called as extends animal. Extends animal, right? So dog extends animal. Okay. Now the beauty here is when basically a class is extending another class, what you can also do here is, if at all you want any specific behavior to be only present in the parent, in the child class, you can always add that. For example, so now animal is there. You put eat, sleep, and which are common to all the animal. Now dog has a method called as bark. Dog has a feature or method called as bark, which is only specific to dog. For cat, there is a specific behavior, let us say called as hunt a rat. Right? Say hunt a rat. Right? Cats are good in hunting rats, right, and stealing milk. So maybe whatever specific behavior that we want in a particular child class, we can always go ahead and add it. Right? So just see what we are trying to do here. So we're just trying to do here is we are trying to add a specific behavior in the dog class. Okay. Other than whatever is already there, we're just trying to add one more behavior here. What is that? I'm just saying here public void say bark. Right? System.out.println, and I'm just saying here the dog, say dog is barking. For now, I'm not making use of the variables and all here. Variables are also there. Okay. The dog of the color. Maybe I will just use of the color. Right. Plus color. Right. Plus is barking. Now, can you tell me, so where is this color coming from? Where is this color coming from, right? Color is not here, isn't it? Color is not here, but how is this color I'm able to access it? So this color is basically taken from the parent, because whenever a class extends another class, all the public members or the default member, I mean, not the, excluding the private ones, okay? Excluding the private ones, right? Let us make it as public just to be safe. Private members will not be inherited. Remember that, because private is strictly up to the class level. Private are always strictly at the class level, right? Public or default, all of them will be getting inherited. Now see, where is this color coming from? Color is coming from the parent class, correct? I've just made use of only this one. So now see the beauty here. Just see the beauty here. I'm going to create another class just to test it. I'm just saying here, test a dog. So test dog inheritance, right? So what is happening here? Let us try to test it off. Just here, what I'm trying to do here, I'm just saying here, dog D is equal to new dog. Dog D is equal to new dog. Now what we have done, we have created the dog object, right? So D dot age. So now where is this age? Is this age there in the dog class? No, but it is there in the parent class. Dog is extending the animal. From the animal we got inherited, right? So D dot age is equal to, let us say I'm setting some age 5, right? And then say D dot, say name. It's a dog's name. Say it is say some name, maybe, you know, people call it with different names, right? So let me call it as, say, Chitu, some name, right? And then D dot color, this dog's color is, let us say, black, right? So now see here, D dot eat. Now where is this eat coming from? If you just see here itself, it is saying that eat, it returns void. That means it does not return anything. It is coming from the animal class. But we have created the object of the dog class. How am I able to access the eat method? It is just because eat is getting inherited from its parent, right? That means parent has already constructed a flat. Okay, then that flat belongs to the son. Okay, that's what it is. Son has the luxury now, right? Already the one flat coming from their parent. That's what it is. Now D dot sleep, right? So now so where is the eat method there? Now just click on this, it will take you to the animal eat. So is there an eat method in the dog class? No. Then your JVM will check, is dog extending animal? Yes. Is there an eat method in the animal? Yes, there is a eat method. Then, you know, it will basically go and pick the eat method from the parent class and, you know, execute it. So just here, that's what it is. Now let us run this and see. Can you just hear the animal by name Chitu of the age 5 of the color black is eating. The animal by name Chitu of the color age 5 and of the color black is sleeping. So what is happening here? The eat and sleep method got inherited from the animal class. Makes sense? Not only that, if at all there is any specific behavior in the child class, even that also we can access it. We can access it, right? Let us run this now. See here, the dog of the color black is barking because we've already set the color, right, to the dog object, right? The color is black. Okay. So what is actually happening here is, if you just see here, what is happening here, what your JVM will do, it will first check the hierarchy. So there is an animal class, right? There is a dog class. Which class object are you creating? You are creating the object of the dog class. Okay. It will first check, is there a eat method here? No. Okay. So is dog class extending any other class? Yes, it is extending animal. Is there a eat method here in the animal class? Yes. Then it will invoke this, right? Similarly for the sleep. Similarly for the bark method. So bark method will check because your object created is at the dog class object, right? So it will check, is there a bark method here? Yes, there's a bark method. It will run the straight away. If it is not, then it will maybe would have checked in the animal class. Makes sense? That's how it works, right? So whatever object class, whatever object you're creating for whichever class, first your JVM will check, is that variable or method is present in this child class? If yes, it will be executed. If not, then it will go and pick it from the parent class. See, the beauty here is, if this method is not present either here or here, then your compiler won't even compile. Just to give an example, I'm just trying to do here, just see here now, what I'm trying to do, I'm making it as eat1. See, compiler will not even allow you to compile. It will say that, boss, you are trying to create the object of the child class, that is dog in our case. Now there is no eat1 method in the dog class, not even it is there in its parent class animal. I cannot compile this code. I cannot compile this code. Now it's not able to compile this. Makes sense? So this is what it is, right? Any questions, anybody? Any questions here? Please ask me. See, why I'm holding here in the middle is just to maybe drink some water and all. I want you to settle down and understand this and ask any questions, okay? Please ask me if you have any questions. Any questions, anybody? No questions, so simple. So during the compile time itself, compiler will check, right? Whether if these methods are present, at least in the inheritance hierarchy or not. Okay. So now one more beauty of inheritance, let us try to understand. So what happens here is just see here. So there is one method coming from the parent class, which is animal class, right? So that is a eat method. Okay. And then dog class is extending animal class. Now what it can also do here is, for example, parents are given one flat. Okay. The child, what it can do is he can maybe reconstruct it or maybe change the coloring or maybe add one more floor on the top of it, make some alterations to that. That is allowed, right? So that is why what happens here is when the method is getting inherited from the parent class to the child class, now the child class can also change the implementation, meaning he can go ahead and make some alterations to the house, right? Just like that, he can maybe go ahead and make the changes to the body of the method. That means what he's trying to give the different implementation over here. He's trying to give the different implementation over here, right? So how to do that? Because it should be allowed, isn't it? Because the house has come to the child now, it should be allowed. Just like that, even in the dark class also, just see now what I'm trying to do here. So there is a eat method in the animal class. Now maybe the way the dogs eat is little different. They initially thought that this is going to be the common behavior for all the animals, but maybe dogs while eating, maybe they will move their tail. Okay, just as an example. Okay, so they want to give some different implementation. Now it comes here and then it goes here. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm just going to say here the dog by name, whatever name, and of the age, whatever age, is eating by moving its tail. Okay, so the dog is trying to eat and it's also trying to move its tail. Now what has happened here? The same method which was there in the parent class. Now what are we trying to do here? We are just trying to do some alterations to that. The same flat which was given to us by the parents, we're trying to make some alterations to it, right? This should be allowed. Yes, it is allowed. It is allowed in the Java word also. So what we have to do here in this case is we have to ensure that the method signature is same. That means the name of the method and the list of arguments along with the order, they should be same. And even the return type also should be same. That means this is what is called as a method header altogether. Some people are calling it as a method header. And this is what is method signature is, right? So all these things should be same. Okay, all these things should be same. The return type should be same. Everything should be same. Only thing that you are allowed to change is what? You are allowed to change the implementation or the body of the method. You are trying to change the body of the method. Correct now? So when you do this, now this is what we call it as method overriding. Now what is this method overriding, if at all I have to tell you? Right? So what is happening over here is we are trying to keep the same method name. What was method overloading? If you guys remember, can somebody tell me what is method overloading? We discussed it a few days back. What is that?
Same method name with different method signature.
Excellent. That is what is method overloading is. Now what is happening over here? Same method signature, everything same method heading, but the method implementation is changed, right? So keeping everything same, only changing the implementation in the child class. Remember, where are we doing this? We are doing this in the child class only. See here, everything is same method signature, right? Same method signature, same return type, but changing the implementation of the method in the child class is what we call it as method overriding. Very, very important, concept. This is only possible because of inheritance. If there is no inheritance, then there is no method overriding. If there's no parent and child class relationship, then there's no method overriding. So what is happening here? Whatever method that is written in the parent class, we are trying to give a different implementation to it. But that means we are trying to change the body of it. Now, this is what is method overriding is. Okay, this is what is method overriding is. Right? So let us try to see this now. So we have already done this. Now, what is the advantage of this? When we do this, what happens? Now, when you have created the object of the dog class, when you say d.eat, now it will check. Is there a eat method in the dog class? Yes, there is a overridden eat method. Overridden means what? Method heading, everything is same, only the implementation is changed. Okay, on the Eclipse, if you can just see here on the left hand side, can you just see here what it says? Overrides com.corejava.oops.inheritance.animal.eat. What is the meaning of this? So the meaning of this is it is a overridden method. It is a overridden method. See here, overrides com.corejava.oops.inheritance.animal.eat. That means this eat method, which is inherited, now it has been overridden. Only the methods that are inherited can be overridden. Correct? See, this bark method is not an inherited method. It's not a over. This is a new method. The methods can be added in the child class, as well as the existing methods which are inherited from the parent can also be overridden in the child class. That's an advantage, right? There's an advantage. Otherwise, it will become hard coded. Every animal will have to eat in the same way. So now we are avoiding that. Now we are avoiding that. Yeah, makes sense. So is this clear to all of you? So simple. Now when I say d.eat, which method will be invoked now? Now you have to tell me the dogs eat method will be invoked. Just see this, because this is over and here. The dog by name G2 of the age 5 of the color black is eating and moving its tail. Can you see this? Makes sense? So simple, isn't it? So simple. Yeah, very, very simple. Correct. So the methods that are getting inherited from the parent class to the child class can also be overridden, right? So what is method overriding? So it is just a contradictory to method overloading. Method overloading always, we will see the differences. Okay, we will write down the difference between both of that. Method overloading always happens in the same class, but whereas the method overriding to happen, so there has to be a parent and child class relationship. Otherwise, method overriding not possible. Make sense? Right? Makes sense? Very, very important. Very, very important. Very, very important. See, this has to be same. Only the implementation can be changed. The implementation can be changed. Right? See, now once you override a method, then you can also overload it. See, overloading always at the class level. Now, see this here. Maybe what I can do, I can just as an example. Okay, doesn't make any sense, but say I'm just saying here what it is eating. String, say food. What food it is eating. Right? So now see this overloaded method. This is method overriding. This method is inherited from the parent. That means he has got a flat from the parent, and then he got modifications done. And then in the neighboring place, there is a small plot which was there, site was there. He constructed another house. This house is different. Overloaded methods. Overloading is always same. Now I can say here the dog by name this name, uh, eating what it's eating by moving food, and food is what food it is eating. So maybe I can just add that food also over here. So specifically adding a method in the child class only, right? So method was overridden, and then the same method can be overloaded. People might ask you, just to confuse you, when we override any method, can it be overloaded as well? You can say that yes, when we override any method in the child class, the same method can be overloaded as well. So overloading and overriding, they are totally different, right? Overloading always happens within the same class, whereas overriding happens between the parent and the child class. Makes sense? So simple, isn't it? So simple, right? That's what it is. Very, very simple. Any questions, anybody here? Any questions? Any questions, anybody? Any questions here? Please ask me if you have any questions. Is method overriding clear to all of you? Maybe let us take some random names here. I've not been talking to you, right? Aishwarya, is that clear to you?
Yes, sir. It's clear to me, sir.
Okay. And Somashekar. Somashekar, is that clear to you? What is method overriding?
Yes, sir.
And
Clear,
how
sir.
do we achieve it? Is that clear? Okay. Sai Srija, is that clear to you? Sai Srija, is that clear
Yes,
to you?
sir.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Banaja. Banaja, is that clear to you?
Yes, sir, it's clear to me.
Method overriding, how do we do that? How do we set up the inheritance, the relationship? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then maybe one more name, finally. Venkata Krishna.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Clear, sir.
Clear?
Clear,
Okay,
sir.
excellent, excellent. All right. So now, so we understood about how do we set up the inheritance hierarchy. That is just by using what? The extends keyword, right? And whatever public members which are there in the parent class will get inherited. If at all we have any private method, that will not be inherited. Just for your understanding, I'm writing a private variable or method, whatever it is, private void. See, what is this? This is a, sorry, I'm writing it in a parent class, right? So let us write it in the parent class, not in the child class. I'm just saying here private void, say maybe anything. Okay, so maybe identify your kid or child. So maybe animals have that knowledge or sense of identifying their kids, right? So maybe they will smell or whatever it is. Yeah. So now this is a private method. Okay. So now system.out.println, any dummy implementation, the animal can identify its child. Okay. So now this method will not be inherited. Okay. So when you try to do this now, just here d dot identify, not there at all, not there. Why it is not there? Because it's a private member. So private members cannot be inherited. Very, very important point here. Private members cannot be inherited. Okay, remember that. Yeah, private members cannot be inherited. Only the public members or the default members can be inherited, but not the private members. Private members are always, anything which is private is only up to the class level. Remember that. That is what is data hiding is, or even the abstraction for that matter is. Makes sense? Any questions here? Anybody? Is that clear to all of you? Is it clear to all of you? Any questions here? Any questions, anybody? Please ask me. Any questions, anybody here? No questions? So simple, right? So simple. Okay. So now what do I do? Now see, the beauty of inheritance is, so now when we write some other classes here, right? Now just see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to write another class here. Maybe let us write it as, cat class. So I will write the class name as, let us say, cat, right? And then, okay, just see here, while creating the class itself, you can do that. Okay, whichever class you want to set it as a parent class, just here super class, which class you want to make it as a super class, right? So for now, by default, we have something called as java.lang.object. I'll be talking about this hopefully tomorrow session or day after tomorrow session. For now, which class you want to make it as a super class? I want to make it an animal as a super class. Just try to search for it. Okay, how do you do that? Just say browse and then choose a type. Okay, just try to type animal here, because any animal classes that you have, it will come over here. right? So animal is there, com.corejava.oops.inheritance, choose this. So now this will become the super class for your class. Super class means parent class, just say finish. So what it will do, it will add this extends keyword just to set up that relationship. Either you can do it when the child class is getting created by Eclipse, or you can do it, by yourself by adding the extend keyword, right? So now what I'll do here, I will add another method here, public void, say hunt rat. So this is a specific method only in the cat class, right? I'm just saying a system.out.println the cat of the age plus age. Now, where is this age coming from? Age is coming from the parent class. See, don't go by the example. Okay, so maybe you will have to understand what we are trying to achieve here. We're just trying to take the methods and the variables from the parent class here. Okay, don't go behind the cat, rat, and all. It is just to make you the concepts clear. All this will be used down the line when we actually try to write code using Selenium. Okay, there are parent classes, there are child classes like that, right? The cat of the age plus age of the color plus color plus color is hunting the rat. Just as an example, okay? So we have added one specific behavior in the cat class now, right? And then the way cat eat is also different than the way dog eats. That means in the cat class also we want to override the eat method. So what I'll do here, I'll just go to the eat method over here. I'll just copy this. For now, I'm just copying it. I'm putting it over here. So just see here what it says, that it says that overrides this. So I'm just changing the body here. I'm saying the cat by name this name and of the age this name is moving, is eating by making sound, right? So cats will keep making sound, meow meow sound, right? So I'll just say here meow sound, something like that, just to keep it a different, because we are overriding it. I just want to give the different implementation here. Now see what happens here. Just here cat C is equal to new cat. I'm creating a cat class object now, right? Cat is also extending what? Animal. C dot eat, C dot sleep. Okay, we have to set the sleep is the sleep method is there. C dot sleep. Yeah, it is there. Yeah, then C dot, what was other method? Eat. Eat is anyway overridden method. Then hunt rat, which is a specific method, right? So let us set some state here. C dot age. C dot age is equal to say 2 years. It's a very small cat, kitten. C dot say name. The name of the cat is say Billy, right? And C dot color. C dot color is equal to, let us say, white. This is what it is. So now this another object altogether. So this is also extending the animal object, isn't it? So now see a system.out.println. I'm just putting a separator here so that you understand. When I run this now, see what happens here. Can you see here? The cat by name. The cat by name, Billy, of the age 2 of the color white, is eating by making meow meow sound, right? The animal. Okay, so now what is happening here? What is this method here? Sleep method. The sleep method is coming from the animal class. It's saying that the animal, here it's not saying the cat, because we have only overridden the eat method in the cat class. We have also overridden the eat method in the dog class. Correct, na? That is why the specific implementation which is present in the dog class or the cat class will be invoked. It is like this, right? Just see here what has happened here. We created dog D here. D is pointing to the cat dog object. C is pointing to the cat object. Both of them are having a superclass called as animal, right? So when any method is already here, present here, or it's already overridden, then that overridden method will be invoked. If not, then the method which is present in the parent will be invoked, whether it is C dot sleep or whether it is D dot sleep. If there is no sleep method here, the one which is present in the animal will be executed, right? If there is no sleep method here, the one which is present in the animal will be invoked. Making sense? This is very, very important, okay? Very, very important. Now see here what is happening. Okay, now see, there is a specific behavior added only in the cat class. That is nothing but hunting the rat. Even that is also, can be executed, right? Because the object created is what? Of the cat type. When the object created itself is of the cat type, whatever is present in the cat and animal can be executed. Make sense? Is this clear to all of you? Any questions, anybody here? Very, very important. Very much important, believe me. We have a lot of this kind of inheritance relationship, which we'll be learning. Any questions, anybody? Any questions here? Any questions? Any questions, anybody? So private members, can they be inherited? The answer is no. So private members cannot be inherited. Can a method which is inherited, can it be overridden? Yes, it can be overridden. Can a overridden method can also be overloaded? Yes, it can be overloaded in the child class. Correct? Can a child class can have its own specific methods other than whatever is getting inherited from the parent? Even the answer is yes for that also. Make sense? So these are the ones that you need to know. Very, very important. Very, very important. Believe me. Very important. Yeah. Now, so let us try to understand a little bit more, maybe for another few minutes here. So now, what if I want to block this? Maybe I want, let us say that some parents are very strict, right? What they do is they say that, this is my, property and all, or maybe this something that is, that we are giving it to you as our child. So I don't want you to, lose it, or maybe some golden ornament or some maybe statue of a, God or something like that. So this you have to preserve. You have to do this puja and all, every year, once in a year or twice in a year, you have to keep, using this, right? So they have said that, not to touch, not to make any changes to this, right? This cannot be overridden. They've said that strictly that you cannot override it. You cannot change it, right? How to achieve that? We will see that. And then, so then another thing that I was trying to tell you here is, as I told you, maybe these parents have a private, property, right? Maybe whatever property they have, all of that belongs to their children, but they have some property which they want to donate it. It is private to them. They don't want to give it to, their children after their lifespan is done. Maybe they want to give it to, some orphanage, or, maybe some temple or something like that, which is absolutely private to them. They said that they very clearly said to the children that you cannot, take it. It's not for you. So that is private. It is up to them. Anything which is private cannot be inherited. We have already discussed that. We have seen that there was a method called as, what was that? Some method we added in the animal class, identify the child. So that cannot be inherited. So private members cannot be inherited. And not only that, if at all I want to stop overriding, inheritance is fine, but I don't want anybody to make any changes. Some military people, right? They're very strict. They want all their children to, follow the same set of rules and all that, right? So that is when what they do, they will basically, make some standard rules. The children have to follow that. So how to do that is just you have to add the final keyword. You remember we added this final keyword for the variables. So when we add a final keyword for the variable, it cannot be changed. The value cannot be changed. Just like that, when you add the final keyword for any method, that means that method cannot be overridden. That's it. Whatever is there in the parent class, the same implementation will be there. It will be inherited to the child class. Child classes will not be allowed to modify any implementation. Can we quickly see that now? So just here, just to show it to you in the tested, I'm just showing it to you over here. Just here, final int, say for example, just as an example, okay, int x is equal to 10 is there. Then what I can do, I can just say x is equal to 20. This is allowed. Value can be modified. If at all I make it as final, then I cannot change it. See here. Next line, straight away we're getting the error here, compilation error, saying that the final field cannot be modified. See here what it says. The final local variable x cannot be assigned, right? That means it is final. Final is final forever. Makes sense? So this is what it is. Just like this, I will keep these two also here for your reference. Just like this, when we make any method as final, for example, I'll go back to the animal class, and then we have a eat method, we have a sleep method. I will make this as a final method. Public final void. It's a final method, right? So you can add final public or public final. Remember that they can be interchanged. Public is for access. Final is to stop overriding, right? So now what we will do, we will try to override this method in the doc class. Let us try this now. I may be trying to change some implementation. I'm just trying to change it as doc here. Implementation is changed. But see, are you able to override it? Now see what is error here? It says that, what is that compilation error? It says when you move the mouse, it says that this is overriding. It's fine, but it says that cannot override the final method from the animal class. Inheritance is allowed. You can get whatever your parents are giving it to you, but this is something that the parents do not want you to change. Some custom, some culture, right? So they don't want you to change. That is what is, final method. So if a variable is final, remember you cannot modify the value. If the method is final, that means it cannot be overridden. Very, very important. Final methods cannot be overridden. Final methods cannot be overridden. Make sense? So what are the points that we have learned here today? Let us try to make a note of that so that you don't forget that. Okay. So what are the points? So the points are like this, right? One by one, we'll quickly make some small points here. First point, public members will get inherited. Make sense? Second point, private members can't be inherited. Third point, in the child class, methods can be overridden by changing the body or the implementation. Right? Remember that. Then what else? What else? One more point was final. Final we have already discussed. We have not discussed, right? Final methods can't be overridden. Make sense? Once we override any method in the child class, right? Once we override any method in the child class, it can be further or it can be overloaded again. It can be overloaded again in the child class. Make sense? So these are some of the points. Let me quickly put this over here in the class itself so that, so copy this text. So what I'll do here, I'll just try to put it over here so that you don't lose this. Okay. That's what it is, some information, right? So now why there is an error here? It says that final method cannot be overridden. Final method cannot be overridden. Okay, so just I will add that note here as well. Final method from the parent class can't be overridden. Very, very important. Okay, very important. I'm trying to keep these things very, very simple, believe me. Right, very simple, because people will usually get confused, right, between all this. Okay, so now you have seen what is overloading, what is overriding and all that. We will try to write down the differences of this overloading and overloading tomorrow, right? Just I want you to spend some time here, go through this once again. I will share you the entire package here. What I'll do is I will zip this entire inheritance package and share it with you. We will take this again tomorrow. We'll continue with this tomorrow. And then after that, we'll move on to the polymorphism. Very, very important. Okay, very important. Then we'll have to talk about the java.lang.object class also. Okay. All right. Any last minute questions, anybody? Any last minute questions? Please ask me. Please ask me.
Shall we declare a normal method as final?
Yes, you can declare that. See, if it is a final method, it can be used. See, imagine that you have a method in a class and then you're declaring it as a final. So that still can be invoked. Only thing is it cannot be, overridden in the child class. That's it. You can have the final methods, not a problem. The only point of using the final keyword is stopping them from getting overridden. That's it.
Sir, if it's not in the inheritance, it's a normal method in a class without inheritance, can we declare a method as final? So
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. See, basically the purpose of final keyword is to block inheritance. If at all there is no inheritance, then whether it is a final or whether there is no final doesn't make any difference, isn't it? So only that will make a difference when you know that your class is getting inherited by some other class. Correct, na?
okay, sir.
Makes sense?
Then
Yeah.
if it is a normal method and if it is declared as final, it cannot be overloaded or it cannot be changed. So is that
Correct.
the case?
Usually,
Okay.
when there is no inheritance, we don't use this final at all. We will just leave it public or private method, whatever it is. Right? The final will be only used. See, final is nothing to do with the overloading. Okay. So overloading final keyword. If you just see our method signature, the final keyword is not part of the method signature. So we can see whether the final methods can be overloaded or not. But the main purpose of the final keyword is to block overriding. Remember that. Nothing to do with the overloading as such.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
If you're
sir,
just
thank you.
writing a class and then some methods there, you better not to make them as final. Because oops doesn't come there at all, isn't it? Yeah. That was a good question. Yes. Any other questions here, anybody? Any other questions? So Deepa, is that all clear to you? Whatever we are discussing here, is that getting clear to you?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. Amoga, is that getting clear to you? Whatever we are learning here? Amoga ji?
Yes, it's clear.
Cool. Anita, how about you? Are you able to make it out, whatever we are discussing here? The oops principles?
Yeah. Though I missed 2 classes, yes, I was able to make it.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it. Yeah, Gurushekhar Reddy, are you clear with whatever we discussed so far? Oops. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. We are almost done with 8:25. So I think that should be 7:15 to 8:30 is what I'm going to keep this session for, at least for a few more days. But we are on track, believe me, and we are trying to cover good topics. Okay. How much I cover is not important. How much you practice and understand is what is important. Okay. So please spend some time and practice. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Till then, take care.
Thank you, sir.